The Great Pyramid was built with around 2.3 million stone blocks. Some weighed more than a car, and every single one had to be cut, moved, lifted, and placed without cranes, without engines, and without modern machines. So the real question is not just how they built the pyramid, it is how they moved the mountain. The Great Pyramid of Giza is not just an ancient monument, it is an engineering problem on a massive scale. For thousands of years, it was one of the tallest structures on Earth. But what makes it even more impressive is not only its height, it is the number of stones. Around 2.3 million blocks were used to build it. That means this was not a project of moving one giant stone. It was a system that had to move stone after stone after stone for years. To understand the mystery, imagine a single limestone block. It is heavy, rough, and difficult to handle. Now imagine moving millions of them across the desert. Each block had to be cut from a quarry, shaped, transported, pulled into position, and placed with enough accuracy to form one of the most famous structures in human history. And some blocks were much heavier than others, especially the granite blocks used inside the pyramid. Those stones did not come from right next to the pyramid. They had to travel a long distance. This is where the real challenge begins. Most of the limestone blocks used in the Great Pyramid likely came from nearby quarries. That helped reduce the distance. But nearby does not mean easy. Workers still had to cut the stone from the bedrock, separate it, shape it, and move it across rough ground. Copper tools, stone hammers, wooden sledges, ropes, ramps, and human labor may have all been part of the process. This was not simple, but it also was not magic. It was planning, it was repetition, and it was organization at a level that is still difficult to imagine. One of the biggest clues may be the Nile. The ancient Egyptians were masters of river transport. The Nile was not just water, it was a highway. During certain seasons, water levels rose, and canals may have allowed boats to move materials closer to the construction site. This matters because moving stone over water is much easier than dragging it across dry land for long distances. Heavy blocks could be loaded onto boats, carried along the river, and brought closer to Giza. So the pyramid was not built only with strength, it was built with geography. The Nile may have been one of the greatest tools the builders had, but once the stones reached land, the workers still had to move them. One of the most likely methods involved wooden sledges. A stone block could be placed on a sledge and pulled by teams of workers using ropes. At first, that sounds almost impossible, but there is an important detail: wet sand. Experiments and ancient artwork suggest that pouring water on sand in front of a sledge can reduce friction. Too much water turns the ground into mud. Too little does almost nothing. But the right amount can make the sand firmer and easier to pull across. So when we imagine workers dragging stones through the desert, we should not imagine random force. We should imagine technique, coordination, timing, and thousands of people repeating the same process again and again. Moving stones across the ground is only one part of the mystery. The harder question is this: how did they lift the stones higher and higher as the pyramid grew? This is where the ramp theories begin. Some researchers suggest a straight ramp, others suggest a zigzag ramp. Some believe ramps wrapped around the pyramid as it rose. Each idea solves part of the problem, but each one also creates new questions. A straight ramp would have needed to be enormous. A spiral ramp may have made it difficult to keep the pyramid's shape perfectly aligned. And if the ramps were removed after construction, very little would remain for us to study today. That is why the ramp problem is still debated, not because we have no ideas, but because every solution has a cost. There is another myth that needs to be corrected. The Great Pyramid was probably not built by slaves in the way movies often show it. Evidence suggests the builders included organized workers, craftsmen, engineers, and labor teams who were fed, housed, and managed. This was a national project. It required food, tools, water, rope, wood, stone, planning, and leadership. The pyramid was not just a pile of rocks. It was a construction machine made of people. Every day, teams had to know where to go, what to move, and where each block belonged. The true mystery is not only how strong they were, it is how organized they were. So how did they move 2.3 million stones? The answer was probably not one secret technique. It was many techniques working together. Nearby quarries, boats on the Nile, wooden sledges, wet sand, ramps, skilled workers, and an organized system that operated for years. The Great Pyramid still feels impossible because we imagine it as one giant miracle. But maybe the real answer is even more impressive. It was not aliens. It was not magic. It was ancient engineering on a scale the world had never seen before. And that may be the greatest mystery of all. If you want more strange history, ancient mysteries, and unbelievable true stories, subscribe to Oddlore Lab.